Hey everybody, it's Deanna and we are here with our doTERRA oil a day. I hope you guys can see me. I can't even see me. I'm outside, so I'm trying to find a space. Give me a second here. Let me try to see if that's any better. That looks like it's a little bit better. I'm glowing, which is partly due to the sun. Today we're going to be talking about one of my most favorite oils of all. It might be my favorite, actually, and it is called Immortelle, and it is a roller blend. It's called the anti-aging blend, so a lot of times people will assume that it is for the skin, and that is a good assumption because the oils, all the oils that are in here are great for skin and tissue of any kind. But if you really think about it, our entire bodies are made of tissue. Our organs are made of tissue. So anytime you're dealing with an issue in your tissue, is what I always say, this is going to be a good oil for that. So don't limit yourself to thinking that it's for like fine lines and wrinkles and scarring and things like that, although it is. But it can be for like pretty much all of your body systems can be benefited from this. And so I'm going to do my very best to creatively tell you some of the things that I've used this for. But first, let's kind of break it down a little bit and find out why it's so amazing. And I think I've told you before when we're talking about blends that it's really important that you don't just focus on the blend name and like what they're marketing it as, but also to focus on what oils are in there and what those oils individually are bringing to the table. So the first oil in here that's pretty amazing is frankincense, and we all know that that's great for a lot of things, and very high vibration oil. In fact, pretty much all the oils in here are high vibration oils, and that just means that they're like the legit oils that doTERRA has, and they're all in one place. So a little tip is, if you're maybe just getting started and you don't have a big oil budget and you can't afford to buy things like sandalwood and myrrh and helichrysum, you definitely do want to have those because they have their place and they're really important as single oils. But at least start with getting yourself some of this because it will do a lot of things because of the oils that are in the blend. There are some kids walking around, so there will be a little bit, it's okay, there will be a little bit of noise, but that's just life. So I just wanted to prepare you that might happen. And there's also a concert happening behind me of some sort, so maybe you're getting serenaded. So we know that there's frankincense in here, and why it would be in a beauty blend is because it's really good at helping to regenerate healthy cells. And so putting that on your skin is always a good idea. So I want you to think about maybe if you had some sort of a wound, maybe you just had surgery and you had an incision. This is something that I've used several times after following a surgery. Frankincense is always a good one for that, and you would want, your body's naturally going to heal from the surgery. It's supposed to do that, but this is just going to enhance your body's ability to do that. And so frankincense is in here for that reason. Frankincense is also really good for the nerves. We've talked about how it's good for the brain and the central nervous system. So if you're dealing with something that involves your nerves, don't count out Immortelle. So let me try to think of a way to tell you about this one example that I really want to share. I shared a little bit about it yesterday when we talked about Hawaiian sandalwood, but let me just reiterate it because this is specifically what I used. So shortly after my son was born, I noticed some things going on with my nerves, and I believe that it was due to the fact that I had to have an emergency C-section, and they did a spinal anesthesia. So they did like a lumbar puncture, and I think that something wasn't quite right about that lumbar puncture because I started having these what's the word I'm looking for? I just felt like a surge of pain going up and down my spine, like surging up and down my spine, especially if I was in a seated position. And then I woke up one morning and one whole side of my face, I couldn't move it. And I looked up all the oils that were really good for something like that, and I was using them really frequently and doing all the right things, and I didn't really see a big change. And then I started to realize that there were so many oils in this blend, like frankincense and sandalwood and others, that are really great for the nerves. And so I began to put it along my jawline, on the back of my neck, and it was only about 12 hours before I started to see a remarkable improvement. And then in 72 hours, I was doing like completely better from that. And I also started putting it on my spine, on the area where they had done the lumbar puncture, and that really helped with those surges of pain that were happening up and down my spine. So anytime that you're dealing with nerve discomfort or any issues involving your nerves, please consider Immortelle. So we talked yesterday about Hawaiian sandalwood and how it's so great for skin. And there's actually some information that shows it can help with ultraviolet radiation, so being out in the sun. So this is another reason why this is a good one. We have a skincare line called Virage, which I absolutely adore and love, and it's all completely plant and mineral ingredients in it, so it's all natural, and it is based off of Immortelle. So the serum that you put on, so you have a cleanser, a toner, and then a serum, and the serum that we put on is based with Immortelle. And so as you're out in the sun, it's nice that your skin's being protected from the burning rays. And also helichrysum, which is in here, is another one that's like a natural sunscreen. Sorry, it's very windy. It's another one that's a natural sunscreen, and that's in here as well. So you might have found yourself a great ingredient to add to a face cream if you're not using the Virage, but you're going to get some natural skin, sun protection from burning. Lavender's in here, and lavender's actually really good at protecting the skin, the skin from the sun as well. Lavender is extremely soothing, so if you have some sort of a cut or abrasion or something on your skin, what I've done with this is I have, you can pop the lid off of the top and very carefully pour it into a spray bottle. You want to get maybe like 25 drops, so you can use a little pipette thing to drop it, and you can put it into a spray bottle, maybe 25 drops, and then like an ounce of fractionated coconut oil, and it makes an amazing spray for any kind of wounds. The bees are loving me because I smell like a flower. I have all kinds of oils on right now, and I'm holding like a zillion flower oils in my hand, so they're like swarming around me. We love bees. Bees are our friends. And so what was I about to say? How do I say this nicely? My son had to have a minor outpatient procedure done on a very sensitive area of his body. And what we did is we did that concoction I just told you about, and every diaper change we would spray it on the area. And in about 3 days, it was like about 95% better. I showed it to his surgeon. I actually showed him photos of it because it was kind of amazing how fast that it was repairing itself, which it was supposed to do, but he told me it was going to take closer to like 3 weeks, and it was more like 3 days. So he was so amazed that he actually showed up at the doTERRA convention in Salt Lake City about a couple of months later. And he wanted to learn, because he's a surgeon, and he wanted to learn how he could benefit his patients as they are healing from surgery. He wanted to make that go more smoothly, and with the microbe protecting oils that are in here, that's another risk that happens, is that you can develop some sort of cooties after you have a surgical procedure. So it's not just a matter of the tissue healing, but it's the healing, the prevention of scarring, and also the prevention from cooties to form, just because there's, that can happen in surgical situations. And so this is like the perfect thing to make a little post-surgical spray. I will say, Kristen, I wish I could sit here and tell you that you could just make a sunscreen out of this, and maybe you could. For me, I've used natural sunscreens, and I have to use I haven't had a lot of success with the homemade ones unless I put them on like every 20 minutes. And let's face it, when I get outside on the beach or something, I'm not going to remember to do that. So I think I would, if you are not real easily burned in the sun, then you could do that. You could just make a sunscreen out of that. I would try to follow one of the recipes like on doTERRA's DIY, where they have like zinc oxide and some other things in there. And I'm hoping and praying, based on some things that I've heard through the grapevine, I'm hoping that maybe doTERRA will come out with a sunscreen. But I am very prone to burning, so I just have to be a little bit more careful. But yeah, I mean, it definitely has those. So I would say for like an everyday, if you're just going to be out in the sun for a little while, for an everyday protection, yeah, in Minnesota, you're probably fine with doing it that way. But in Florida or something like that, you might need a little bit more protection. So myrrh is in here. Myrrh is amazing for tissue. Oh my goodness. So that's the oil that we put on my son right after he was born, and they cut the cord. We put that on his umbilical cord, and it was only 6 days, I think, that the stump was completely healed and fell off. And that was pretty surprising to other moms and to my midwife, how quickly that happened. So we can kind of see why that would be included in here. We talked about helichrysum. Helichrysum is good for all kinds of skin stuff. So, I mean, even if you have something like, so hard to say things that I want to say. So sometimes you get these like spots that just show up on your body. And they're not pimples, they're not like an infection of any kind, they're just like these blotches that show up, and they kind of are painful and sore. And any of those types of things, spraying this blend with some coconut on that area, coconut oil, would be amazing. And that is partly because of the fact that helichrysum's in there. So any like itchy, scaly spots on your skin, that's a really good blend. If you have like a Mac Daddy diaper rash going on, this is a really good thing to do. I had dental surgery done in December. I had to have a tooth pulled, and it was a pretty invasive situation. And I had just ended up with like a big hole there. And so I did that blend I told you about, 25 drops Immortelle and all the rest coconut oil, and I would spray that in my mouth once every, 3 or 4 hours. And I was shocked at how quickly my gums and everything healed after that. The other oil that's in here that is incredible is rose. So you know that rose, doTERRA is the only one that has like legit rose oil anywhere out there, but we don't sell it because it takes like, I don't know the numbers, but it takes like a ton of rose petals just to make a little 5 milliliter bottle of rose. So it's very expensive, so we don't sell it. We give you the opportunity to win it once a year so you can have some in your arsenal. But then, of course, you don't want to use it often because it's sacred and it's precious. So it's in here. It is in Immortelle. So that's a great way. So if you have something going on with your skin, cracked skin, chapped skin, anything like a little acne thing that won't quite heal, any of those things, just remember that rose is in here. And so that is like the best skin oil. Now, all of these oils also have something else in common, and that is they are great for emotions. So this oil is so incredible, and I kind of use it as my like desert island oil. When something's wrong with me and I can't quite put my finger on what it is, like I just don't feel like myself, I'm down, or I feel like I'm coming down with something, I have a headache that I can't shake, and like the regular oils aren't working, I always crack this out. In fact, this is the oils I carry with me everywhere. I do the rollers, and this is one of them that's in here. Like I don't leave home without Immortelle because it's good for everything. So what I do is when I'm having like what I would like to call a crap day, that is the technical term, I just take my Immortelle and I pray there's no hair sticking to it like there just was, and I just roll it behind my ear and along here a little bit on that bone behind my ear. I do the back of my neck, and I smell it out of the bottle, and immediately I just feel better. It is such an incredible smell, and those oils combined together, it's magic. It is magic. And we know that rose is really, really good for emotions. That's like the best oil. So when I was struggling postpartum with a little bit of sad feelings after I had my son, we were actually diffusing rose. And so Immortelle is a perfect one. As another thing emotionally is it really helps you to just transition from darkness to light. So it helps you to kind of let in things that you want to attract in your life. A closer relationship with God, a better relationship with people. It helps you to have more gratitude for the things that are going well in your life. I don't know about you, but I sometimes can get stuck in a rut of where I'm like, man, everything sucks and this person's doing this, and I just tend to see the negative. If you find yourself every time you talk to somebody, if all you say to them is negative, let's try to find a little gratitude. Let's get out our Immortelle, inhale it, put it on that bone behind our ear, and just start trying to think of something you're grateful for. I once heard someone say, I want to say it was Kim Duncan, Kirk and Kim Duncan. I really love their stuff. And I think that she was saying that at one point she was so frustrated with her husband and she was trying to find something to be grateful for. And the only thing she could think of is that he was breathing. And so she would just say, I'm so grateful that you're breathing. Like that's how she would think about it. And if that's what you have to do to be grateful, start there. Start somewhere. Let in a little bit of gratitude and that will grow. Whatever you put your focus and attention on will grow. And this oil is going to help you put your focus and your attention on positive. There's always something positive, always, in every situation. Even in the darkest situations, there's something to be thankful for. I have struggled before with deaths of friends and family members and lost pregnancies, and those are very tragic. in that moment, of course, you're extremely sad, but through that, you can choose to be grateful that you had the opportunity to know them for as long as you did. There's always something that you can be grateful for. This oil is going to help you with that. It's also a good one to include, just like we talked about sandalwood, being great to include in meditation and prayer, even before you go to church and you're about to have worship time. This would be a good oil to include. You could put it right here on the top of your head. That's a really great place to connect to God. And so it's just a great one to have in your arsenal. If you don't have it, I encourage you, save up those loyalty rewards points and cash them in for Immortelle. It's so worth it. You will not regret that you have this oil. And I am grateful you're breathing, John. That is true. But yeah, I promise you, if you're on my team and you ask me, like, what should I use for this? Like 8 times out of 10, I'm going to say Immortelle. And so now you'll be able to actually use it when I recommend it. I recommend it for everything because it's good for everything. It seriously is. Like, just throw some Immortelle on it. You can't go wrong. Have a great day, y'all. I'm about to have a really great day with my family. Wednesday's family day. And we're going to do some fun stuff. So I hope that you're doing something that you enjoy and that gives you gratitude as well. Throw a little Immortelle on and see if you can't find something to be grateful for, and shine on.